Hi everyone, I'm Tushar Dhaka. I'm a senior product manager at Progress. I'm part of the PDP or Progress Data Platform product management team, and I lead the strategy for end user tools and data orchestration. So this is the first time here in US, Washington DC. Really delighted to be here. I'm glad I brought my jacket. Otherwise, the weather outside is pleasant. So in the session today, we'll basically talk about two things. One is why we do what we do, and what are the activities or what makes Progress Data Platform unique in the way it solves that problem. So basically, my session will be divided into two halves. In the first half, we'll try to understand and acknowledge both the value and complexity in managing unstructured data. And in the second half, we'll look at some of the activities and tools involved that makes Progress Data Platform the ideal tool or the ideal technology and solution to tackle that problem. So whenever we try to solve a problem, we generally unmask more problems. So in my lifetime, we tried to solve the problem of storing data and sharing data. I remember holding a floppy disk, a CD disk, a DVD, pen drive, and at the same time, the internet has evolved so much. I remember the first time in 1995 when I was doing my first search, I was looking at the Terminator movie image, trying to see the image rendering, and I was really happy to see that I can render Arnold Schwarzenegger on that motorcycle having a shotgun. And now in the same time, we can actually download a whole movie in 4K. So we have come along a long way. So we solved one problem, and that created another problem. The amount of data that we are dealing with today is just extraordinary. In 2020, we produce 64 zettabytes of data. I didn't even know what zettabyte is. It's 1 billion terabytes. That's extraordinary. And in just 5 years, we have tripled that amount to over 180 zettabytes. And with the advent of Gen AI, the growth of data is just going to be extraordinarily more. There's a new profession called content creator. And therefore, it's not surprising to see that over half of the content over internet is video. And to deal with that amount of data, US alone has over 5,400 data centers. That's a lot of data, a lot of power consumption, a lot of redundant data, and a lot of noise. So there are a few problems created because of that. We'll deal with one of them, which is what is the nature of this data? We were talking about data in general context. But even for enterprises, the vast majority of data is unstructured. As per Gartner, around 80 to 90% of new data that is created by enterprises is unstructured. And IDC feels that it's slightly more. It's more than 90% of the data is unstructured. Even so, unstructured data doesn't really get the kind of investment it deserves. So again, as per research, only 44% of the organizations are investing in managing the unstructured data. And we are not even talking about effectiveness here. Only 44% is actually focusing on managing the unstructured data. And even though the vast majority of data is unstructured, the vast majority of investment is going into structured data. And the reason is not that enterprises don't see the value in unstructured data, but it's really a hard and complex problem to solve. Managing unstructured data is a nightmare. From the onset, just because of the volume of data that we saw, you need an extraordinary amount of storage and compute resources. Once you get past that, the larger the enterprises are, the more silos you have, the more systems you have, and all of them have their own way of managing data, their own way of accessibility, and you need to bring all that together. That gives another problem. Now you have data quality issues. In one system, the data is something else, and in the other system, it's something else. There's also inconsistencies. And once you're able to get past that, you have to not only get data at one time, but you need to set up a pipeline so that data can just keep coming in. System integration is the next problem. And while doing so, you need to make sure that the security and privacy is preserved. The right people get access to the right data. You also need to be compliant. You need a way to export reports that you can share with auditing teams or compliance officers and so on. And then you'll come to the real thing. You need a way to extract knowledge. So there are multiple problems. And because we are spoiled by the time we are living in, we are dealing with maybe terabytes, zettabytes, petabytes of data, but we want the answers fast, quickly. So there are enormous challenges. And in fact, the problem is so difficult that majority of data initiatives fail to deliver value. Now, I know that I'm showing a dated stat here, but the punchline here is in 2019, Gartner said that around 20% of the data projects will deliver their value. And even after 5 years, the stat didn't really change. The only thing that changed was optimism. They were optimistic that 20% will provide value, and now they think that 80% will fail. However big the problem is, it is also a tremendous opportunity for us to tackle this problem. And in the morning sessions, we are talking about PDP is not just about AI. That's true. It's about a lot of other things. But it is important to understand that having a data platform is critical for having a reliable and working Gen AI application. So all this is from research. So IDC warns that Gen AI success depends on unstructured data. So 90% of enterprises' data feeding into initiatives is unstructured, which we all know. The one reason unstructured or Gen AI is more popular than machine learning for general purpose, for general people, general public and enterprises is just the nature of how it is able to interact with us. And we don't interact in numbers. We interact with words, pictures, images, videos. Apart from that, of course, the other benefit of using a data platform or having a data platform is process improvements, and also it helps you be compliant. It makes it easy for you to have that information readily available when required. So that settles the first part. We know there is a problem. We know it's very difficult. Not everyone can solve it. Even though people see value in it, they hesitate to invest. And I really feel excited about the time today. I mean, when I first came into MarkLogic, so I've been at Progress for 10 years now. I'll be closing in on 10 years this year. I was part of the OpenEdge product line for almost 8 years. And a couple of years back, I came into now PDB, but at that time, MarkLogic. And the product excited me. In fact, I was surprised by how we were able to get our hands on such a great product. It's really capable. And I think today, in this time, in the age of generative AI, it is an exciting place to be. So in the second half of the session, I'll talk about some of the activities involved or some of the components that make Progress Data Platform unique. And maybe you have heard about a lot of it already. But at the end, I'll also show you a couple of tools that one of them is already out there. We talked about it, Fast Track. And the other one will be launched soon. So that will be the exciting stuff. So how do we basically get about solving this process? So at the heart of Progress Data Platform is a very capable MarkLogic server, which is a multi-model database. You can ingest all kind of content into it, structured, unstructured, and you have many flexible ways to ingest that data. We have a variety of tools. You can use Flux, which is based on Spark. You can use some traditional tools, MLCP. You can do REST API, or you can stream data through Kafka. And you can even extract data from images, be that be a table or content. Once you have that data in your database, this is an iterative process of making that data more usable. We talked about it in the morning. The use cases change. You do some kind of transformation on the onset, but this is an ongoing process. What makes Progress Data Platform unique is its ability to do search in a multifaceted way. You have a built-in full-text search, which just basically works like how Google does. And now with MarkLogic Server 12, we have the ability to generate vector data that sits alongside the data. Now you have another facet of way, or another way that you can search your data. And we also introduced a new search algorithm, BM25. And there's going to be a session on that to dive deep. And then we have virtual views, which allow you to also show or work with relational data. The next unique part of Progress Data Platform is our ability to add semantics to our data. So some of you might know about it, but for others, the way Semaphore works is, so Semaphore basically allows us to have semantics data alongside our data. So the way it works is for example, if you have a banking domain, and how you start is you try to create a knowledge model for your specific domain. For example, you have an account manager, or you have a card, account number, and so on. So you have all these terms that are associated to your business, and you again iteratively create this model. And Semaphore uses natural language processing to parse all your text, identify the context, and you also have a way to provide alternate names in different languages. So what it helps you is it adds a metadata to your already stored data and enriches it with content that is relevant to your business. So we create a model, we publish that model, and we have a service running that takes all your queries, enriches it with the metadata, and it also enriches your content with that metadata. The other unique aspect of Progress Data Platform is Corticon. So Corticon allows you to add intelligence to your data pipeline without actually adding any code. And it thrives where you have millions and billions of rules. So you have predictability, you have a way to add intelligence without really coding. It runs serverless, and it's transparent because you know what's happening. And it is also integrated into our new workflow orchestration product that I'll showcase in a bit. Now, once you have everything created in the data pipeline, you have all your data, you have added semantic logic, you also have added workflow, you need a way for the business user to actually utilize this data. And that's where Fast Track comes in. So the Fast Track application is basically a library of different widgets that allows you to visualize and work with unstructured and both structured and unstructured data in a way that traditional BI tools does not allow. And I'll just showcase a small demo of an application that we ship along with the product. But if you want to learn more, there is a session tomorrow in the morning that Brian Griffin will be doing. So I don't want to steal a lot of thunder, but I'll show one demo of that product. So we have a bunch of example applications that we have built to test our new widgets. And we also ship it with the product as part of it's like a reference implementation so that you can develop applications taking it as a reference. This is one of our new ones. It has some of the new features that are not yet generally available. And what I'll show you is we have this first an authentication screen. And I have 3 users here. I have the first user who is a standard user called Stan. So once Stan logs in, he is able to see the screen. I don't really know how to make sense of this data that we are showing you, but the best way to say is that there are some people, and they are published in these different news articles, and there is a bunch of data about them. And you can see that some of the content here is hidden. So as a standard user, I cannot see the salary or SSN of social security number of these people. Some of the new things we have added and that I'll demonstrate here today is a flexible option to explore your data. So generally, when you go to an e-commerce website, everyone has used Amazon. There are some things that are really limiting about the search or the exploration experience. For example, I want the ability to search for something which has A, B, C, D, E, all the things, or I might have to look for things where any of these will do. I mean, at least it should have 3 of them or 5 of them. But we don't really have that. Here we have something that I've not seen before. So for example, if you're searching for, let's say I'm filtering for, give me all the matches where things are published in New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Tribune. So here you see all the matches where all 3 of the filters are set. So all these people or all the entities where these 3 things that are selected are appearing is listed here. Alternatively, what I can do is match any. So I'm looking for New York Times, Washington, Wall Street Journal. And once I change that, now I see all the results where even if in any of the particular entity, even one of the filter matches, we see that in the result. So let me now sign out and log in as a, who was the manager? So we have Adam, who is an administrator. So Adam being an administrator, he can see everything. And who is the third user? Megan? Yeah, it should be Megan. Megan being a manager, she can see your salary, but she cannot see your social security number. And one of the interesting things that I didn't showcase before is, you might see that, okay, I still have a filter here. Maybe even though as a standard user, I cannot see the salary, this might work. So for example, Megan can probably search over salary, but if I go back to Stan, this won't really work. And I know it's just a demo, but that's how it's designed. Ideally, it should not appear at all. So let me, did I break it? It seems like I break it. Oh, it's back. So yeah, now if I'm being a little too smart, I'll try to filter things by salary. Oh, come on, show me someone. I want to know what the salary is as a standard user. It just don't work. All right, so that's just a tiny bit of fast track. And please go and attend Brian's session to look to see more. The last part of my session is to talk about a new tool that we have introduced. So for MarkLogic server, for a long time, whenever we have implemented a solution at a customer site, we work with third-party tools, whether it's NiFi, MuleSoft, and so on. But lately, we have invested in a new tool, and I'll just talk about it a little bit, and then I'll show you a demo. The strength of this tool is it allows you to visually create a workflow, so you can see what you're doing, and it helps you abstract a lot of complexity around working with MarkLogic server or the technology altogether. It has extensive integration with a lot of different tools. It has a very thriving community, and you can write code in your native JavaScript, add it as part of a flow, and you can trigger it through by some events, some thresholds, or just by adding a button in your website. And you also have a way to add different roles and project management. So the tool I'm talking about is N8N. How many of you have heard about N8N? Oh, awesome. So most of us are from Progress who have heard about it. So let me show you another demo of what we have. So the awesome thing about this demo is that here you'll see that we are using. Actually, I should just duplicate my screen now. It is much more easier. Bear with me for a minute. Yeah, I have my mouse here. All right, that's not what I wanted. Okay. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about the setup of this demo, and then I'll show how it all works together. So the flow of the demo is pretty simple. We have some data in Salesforce, and we are trying to pull that data into MarkLogic server. We realize that data has basically two parts. One is accounts, and the other is opportunity. We are trying to extract some information that is not readily available in Salesforce as a column. For example, what is the industry? What is the size of the opportunity? And so on. So for that, we are using semaphore. And then we are applying some rules to compute the risk of that opportunity. For example, based on how many customer support cases are already there in this system. What is the severity of that, of those cases? And for a particular opportunity, where exactly are we in the phase of that, of a sale, and so on. So what you see here is, so we have a trigger that is linked to a web page where this data will be populated. We have a cleanup step, and if I open it, this basically is expanded, and this is just to be neat. I have not put everything here. This is expanded into a different flow. So this is just preparation of the demo. So we read all the accounts. If that data exists, we are just deleting it. Similarly for opportunities and support cases. The next step in this flow is moving data from Salesforce to MarkLogic server. So here we are extracting content from Salesforce and putting it into MarkLogic server. In the next step, we are enriching it with semaphore. So we are reading the opportunities, we are passing the content, and we have a loop because semaphore enriches one entity at a time. And once we have enriched, and you'll see that in the dashboard that we create, once we go through these processes, some of the data starts coming up. Then we calculate the risk. So yeah, we also have defined a complex flow of computing risk and applying that. And at the end, based on that risk, we have this process of not only updating the dashboard, but also sending out an email to whoever we have configured to receive that email, that certain opportunity is crossing this particular threshold, and it is at risk. Please pay attention to it. So another interesting thing about this whole setup is, and this is just for convenience, I have my server on PDC, on Progress Data Cloud, a MarkLogic server on Progress Data Cloud, and a semaphore on Progress Data Cloud. But a lot of other things are actually hosted I have something running on my local. The NA10 itself is running on my local machine. The database is in MarkLogic server. Sorry, the MarkLogic server is on PDC. The semaphore is on PDC. Corticon is running in my internal service. So this is just for convenience, but this also shows that it's really easy to integrate a process where things are lying across different areas. So in case things fail, I just wanted to show the end output of what we'll achieve. So I've already run this. So what we have here are the opportunity names, the accounts, the amount of the opportunity, the stage of the opportunity, and then some of the things that we compute. For example, use cases are not actually present as part of the opportunity that is extracted using semaphore. We have a model created to identify and extract that from the content, from the text about the opportunity and the account. The risk assessment is again computed using Corticon and so on. So let me do it from there. So what I'll do is I have a trigger workflow button that should kick things off. And to see if it is actually working, yeah, so this execution just shows that this started working. And if I refresh this page, I can see the data has refreshed. We still haven't got the amount because semaphore is going to extract it. So if I refresh again, we got the amount, we got the use cases, and it seems like the whole thing ran because we got the risk assessor also. All right, so this succeeded, and I'm also expecting an email at the end. So let me see if I got it. So yeah. So that's all I had in terms of demo and the session. Yeah, any questions?
Test. Questions?
Tushar, the last demo that you mentioned, is that coming out as a product or as a sample example, or how it is?
So this demo is actually very rudimentary. What we did here was just it was a test for us. So okay. Test the tool and see if we can actually integrate all the products to work together well or not. We can certainly create a better version of this particular example and make it available as part of the product. But one of the interesting things of n8n, apart from nodes, there is a concept of workflows. For example, something that we are currently working on is integrating the data hub flows in n8n, so we can make it available as a template. So what it means is you'll have a series of nodes interconnected, forming a particular flow that you can import and use as it is.
Nodes as in n8n nodes?
n8n nodes, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You showed all progress plugins in N8N there, but how can you go to like a marketplace or somewhere to find other nodes that are available in N8N and mix them together?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, N8N has a very thriving community, and it's a growing community of products. So you can find nodes on, like for example, OpenAI. You'll be able to find nodes for a lot of other database, and that also help us identify the standard to which we should comply with when we are creating our own nodes. So yeah, there's a thriving community that we can leverage here.
So we're currently using Apache NiFi. How would this new workflow process be better? And are there the same pre-built MarkLogic processors for loading data into MarkLogic and semaphore for classifying documents as well?
Yeah, so in this particular example, we are using a classification service for semaphore that is running. So you need to build the model separately, you need to do everything separately, but at the end, once you have that model ready, you'll host it on PDC or elsewhere, and that we have a node for that particular service. We are also working on different nodes to basically abstract some of the complexities around interacting with MarkLogic, whether it is data ingestion or whether it is querying MarkLogic server via Optic or CTS. So it's an iterative process. Our initial goal will be to have a wrapper where you can just write a plain text query that you do in a console. Over time, we'll try to hide the complexity even more. Any more questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tushar. Thank you.